So why, after all these years, do I still despise New York City? Why is it that anytime the subject of that place comes up, my blood pressure goes through the roof and I don't want to deal with it? Let me preface this by saying I was born and raised there. I grew up in New York City, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. It was the greatest place in the world. It was a fantasy land. I wouldn't trade a minute of that experience for anything. But sometime in like the middle to late 1980s, it started to change. And it was just a slide all the way through the 90s. And when we left in 2002, it was like done. The place was done. And all it's done is gone downhill from there. So what am I talking about exactly, right? A couple of weeks ago, I picked up a dirt bike, a 71 TS 250. And we did a video on that. And I said in the video, I never rode a dirt bike till I was like 36 years old. And then I just totally got into it. And then I went on to explain in that video that in New York City, if you were into that sort of thing, you're a dirt bike guy or anything like that, right? You were public enemy number one. You would get in less trouble for selling drugs, for beating people, for doing. It's like public enemy number one. It's like, how is this? All right, it's the way of the city. Well, ironically enough, day before yesterday, somebody brings a story to my attention from the New York Post. Not that I have any regard for the New York Post, but stories in the New York Post. And it seems that this year they did a major crackdown on what they call dirt bikes. Okay, and they've confiscated over 900 of them. They confiscate them, they just take them from you, right? And in a publicity stunt, the mayor of New York, who I won't honor by even uttering his name, gathers these bikes up, 92 of them, as a publicity stunt and crushes them, right? They run these things over with a bulldozer to forever rid the city of the menace of dirt bikes. There's a couple of problems with this. The first is that most of the bikes in the picture weren't even dirt bikes. They were scooters. They were like little 50cc scooters, 125s, whatever. They lumped them all together. Now this is a city, mind you, right, that's known for traffic congestion. It's an absurdly expensive place to do anything. It's known for like literally every bad quality, every quality of life issue you have in New York City. Scooters? You're crushing scooters? You should be encouraging the people to ride scooters. There's less pollution. It leaves them a couple of extra dollars to maybe buy a bagel and support your tax base. But that's all besides the point. That's all completely besides the point. New York City is a place where if you're a freaking junkie and you need a place to shoot up, they give you a safe space to shoot up, right? Do the cops come and confiscate their drugs and destroy their drugs? No! They say, oh, here, you're a freaking junkie. You need a place to shoot up. Here's a place to shoot up, right? But God forbid you're out there with a scooter trying to save a couple of bucks. Oh no, we'll take this thing from you and crush it so that nobody could ever. This is New York City. And then on top of that, right, think about this for a second. Think about the absurdity of this. They took 92 of these things. They've confiscated over 900 of them, but they rounded up 92 of them. Scooters, a couple of dirt bikes in there, yeah, but scooters. They round these things up, they crush them with a bulldozer. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff. Did they auction them off or sell them to use the proceeds to perhaps, I don't know, help the animal shelters, veterans, children's hospitals, homeless people, drug rehabilitation programs? Did they use the proceeds that they could have, hundreds of thousands of dollars that they could have netted from this? Did they use it for a worthwhile cause or a purpose? No. They do a publicity stunt where they just flatten these things to forever rid the city. This is like this mayor's words, to rid the city of this menace forever. Really? Okay. This is New York City. That is New York City. That's the mentality of New York City. It's a toilet. It's a cesspool. It gets worse all the time. If you're one of the cops, talking to you, man, if you're one of the cops in that cesspool that enforces this type of rule, this type of thing, right, you should be ashamed of yourself. You belong there. You know that? You belong there. if you find this kind of thing as offensive as I do, get the hell out before it's too late. That place is going down. It's going down hard. And see, that happens every time I start talking about this place. That's how angry it makes me. Get out while you can, right? It's over. It's over. It's done. And do me a favor, right? You come up, you meet me someplace, don't bring up New York City. I don't want to talk about it. Hell with that toilet. I'll see you tomorrow.